The dust swirled like a living thing across the cracked Iowa soil, choking the air with the scent of failure. Tom Reilly, 45 years old and built like the tractors he once commanded, crouched behind an abandoned grain silo on the outskirts of Des Moines. His farm, the Reilly homestead that had been in his family for 4 generations, was gone, swallowed by drought, bank loans, and a merciless market that didn't care about a man's sweat or legacy. It was October 2025, and the harvest season mocked him from afar, with neighbors' combines rumbling like distant thunder, while he scavenged for scraps in tent cities where forgotten farmers huddled against the wind. Tom's hands, calloused and scarred from years of wrestling barbed wire and planting corn, trembled as he sorted through a discarded crate of wilted vegetables from a roadside stand. A half-rotten apple here, a bruised potato there, enough to stave off the gnawing hunger for another day. He'd lost everything: the 500-acre spread in rural Iowa, the John Deere tractor his father had passed down, even his pickup truck repossessed last month. His wife, Maria, had left 2 years ago, taking their son, Ethan, with her to her sisters in Omaha. "I can't watch you drown us all, Tom," she'd said, her voice breaking like dry earth underfoot. Now he lived in a makeshift tent, pieced from old tarps, sharing stories with other displaced farmers, vets from the 1980s farm crisis reborn in new faces, haunted by tariffs, China's soybean boycotts, and endless droughts that turned fertile black soil into dust bowls. The current drought had been the final blow. Iowa's fields, once golden waves of corn and soy, were parched skeletons. Reports from Iowa Public Radio echoed in his mind: low yields due to moisture deficits, rust diseases ravaging crops, lenders pressuring families into foreclosure. Mental health hotlines were overwhelmed. Farmers like him called in the dead of night, voices cracking under the weight of isolation. Tom had called once, but hung up before speaking. Pride was all he had left. That crisp morning, as frost clung to his beard, he heard the whir of rotors slicing the sky. A sleek black helicopter descended onto a nearby field, kicking up more dust. He tensed, expecting some corporate scout eyeing land for mega farms. Instead, a man in a tailored suit stepped out, briefcase in hand, shoes polished to a shine that screamed New York or Silicon Valley. The stranger scanned the tent city, his eyes locking on Tom. "Thomas Reilly?" The voice was crisp, authoritative, like a banker denying a loan extension. Tom stood slowly, wiping dirt from his jeans. "Who's asking? If you're here to buy scraps of land, it's already gone." Grant extended a hand, unfazed by the grime. "Elias Grant, a state attorney from Grant and Associates in San Francisco. I've been searching for you for weeks. Your grandfather, Elias Reilly Sr., my firm's client, passed away last month. You're named in his will." Tom laughed, a bitter sound that echoed off the silo. Grandfather Elias? The old man had vanished decades ago, rumored to have struck it rich in California during the tech boom. Tom's father, Stephen, had barely mentioned him, calling him a ghost who forgot his roots. No Christmas cards, no visits, just silence. "If this is a joke, it's a cruel one. I ain't got time for scams." Grant opened his briefcase, pulling out documents with official seals. "No scam, Mr. Reilly. Your grandfather built an empire in agri-tech, patents for GMO seeds that revolutionized drought-resistant crops. He left you his entire estate, 2,000 acres of prime California farmland, a portfolio of Silicon Valley shares, defense contracts from his side ventures, and liquid assets totaling $62 million after taxes." Tom's knees buckled. He grabbed the silo for support. $62 million? Yesterday, he'd fought a fellow drifter over a moldy loaf of bread. Now this suit was handing him a fortune? Why me? Grandpa didn't know I existed. "There's a condition," Grant said, his tone measured. "You must come to California to view a video message he left. Only then will the terms be clear. You have 72 hours or the estate defaults to an alternate beneficiary, a corporate agro-business conglomerate your grandfather despised." Tom's mind raced. Corporate giants like those had gobbled up small farms across Iowa, turning family operations into factory fields. If he walked away, he'd fuel the machine that destroyed him. Who's the corp? AgroMega Corp. They lobbied against sustainable farming subsidies your grandfather supported. The helicopter waited, blades idling. Tom glanced at his tent, the cluster of weary faces watching from afar. Miguel, a migrant worker who taught him how to forage wild edibles. Sarah, a widow whose farm flooded in the 2023 storms. This could be his escape, or a trap. Give me an hour. I need to say goodbye. He found Miguel sorting cans by a fire pit. Hermano, something crazy happened. A lawyer says I inherited millions from a grandpa I never knew. Miguel eyed him skeptically. You hit your head? Or is it that bad moonshine? It's real. If it pans out, I'll come back for you all. But if not, Tom trailed off. Miguel clasped his shoulder. Remember what I said. La tierra remembers those who respect her. Don't forget us when you're flying high. The flight to California was surreal. The helicopter whisked him to a private jet at Des Moines International. On board, Grant provided fresh clothes, a flannel shirt, jeans, boots that fit like they were made for him. He showered in the lounge, watching months of grime swirl away. For the first time in years, he ate a real meal. Steak, potatoes, fresh salad. As they soared over the Midwest's patchwork fields, Tom pressed Grant for details. Your grandfather was a pioneer, invented seeds that could thrive in droughts like Iowa's current one, but he was reclusive, haunted by his past. The jet landed at a private airstrip near Silicon Valley. A black SUV drove them to a sprawling estate in the Central Valley, rolling hills of vineyards and orchards, a stark contrast to Iowa's flat despair. The mansion was modern yet rustic, solar panels gleaming, rainwater collection systems humming. Inside, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked experimental fields where cover crops waved in the breeze. Grant led Tom to a study dominated by a massive oak desk and a wall screen. The video plays once, I'll be outside. The screen flickered. Grandfather Elias appeared, frail but fierce, oxygen mask nearby. Pancreatic cancer had claimed him at 92. His eyes, the same steel blue as Tom's, pierced the camera. Tom, if you're watching, Elias Grant found you in some Iowa hellhole, probably scavenging like I did once. I know because I had investigators tracking you and the whole family, but you were the one. Tom leaned forward, heart pounding. The condition, within 5 years, help 100 small farmers adopt sustainable practices, not handouts, real training. Cover crops, no-till planting, rotational grazing, buffer strips, build soil health, fight erosion, reduce water use. My trust will verify each case. Fail, and everything goes to AgroMega, the vultures who poisoned our lands with chemicals. Tom's breath caught. Sustainable farming? He'd dreamed of it on his farm, but couldn't afford the switch amid droughts and high input costs. Why you? Let me tell you my secret. In the Great Depression, I lost everything. Our Iowa farm foreclosed. I hit the rails, homeless for 3 years, starving in Dust Bowl camps. A man found me delirious in his barn one winter. Stephen Reilly, your great-grandfather, my father. Wait, no. Elias coughed and corrected himself. No, it was a stranger at first. He gave me shelter, taught me crop rotation basics, but years later I learned he was kin, your great-grandpa, who'd wandered off after World War I traumas. He saved me without knowing our blood tie. The revelation hit like a hailstorm. Tom's great-grandpa, the family legend who disappeared, had unknowingly rescued his own son. I built my fortune from that second chance, patents for resilient seeds, but I watched our family rot. Your cousins lobbying for big ag, ignoring climate chaos. You, reports showed you sharing seeds with migrants during droughts, teaching no-till to neighbors for free, even as your farm crumbled. You kept the soil's spirit alive. Elias leaned in. AgroMega wants my patents to monopolize. Deny them. Save the farmers like we were saved. And Tom, don't let wealth isolate you. I died alone here, fortunes untapped for good. Break the cycle. The screen went black. Tom sat stunned. $62 million to fight the system that broke him? But 100 farmers? It seemed impossible. Grant re-entered. Your decision? I'll do it. For the land, for the people still fighting. The next day, Tom established the Reilly Roots Foundation. He hired Miguel as outreach director. Miguel knew Iowa's underbelly, from migrant camps to foreclosed homesteads. They started small, a converted barn as headquarters, workshops on practical farmers of Iowa techniques, cover crops like rye to prevent erosion, extended rotations with legumes to rebuild nitrogen. First success. A young couple in Boone County, their soy fields decimated by rust. Tom funded no-till drills, taught buffer strips to filter runoff. Within months, their yields stabilized, water use dropped 20%, verified by Grant's trust. But challenge